Yeah.
You want to like him, but you can't.
Are you listening?
What?
Are you listening?
Did you bring me on this show to insult me?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all don't want it with us, man. We straight gangsters over here,
Straight
man.
gangsters. Yeah, good morning and welcome back. You are listening to Scout Team Radio. We bring it to you hot and live each and every morning right here on 12-Ounce Sports Radio. I am one of your gracious hosts. They call me Loudbeard.
You are the most egotistical, self-deluded person I have ever met.
What she said. And the man on that other microphone, he is a great American. He is a great patriot. And you all know him as...
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it is your boy Chris America coming to you live this Monday, the last day of September 30th, 2019, Loudbeard. And it's going to be an okay Monday because one of us is going to be up and the other of us is going to be down. Loudbeard, is it tank season for the Washington Redskins? Is there no hope?
No, absolutely not. There isn't any hope. 0-4, you can't start out 0-4. And you bring in your rookie quarterback to give your team a spark. And there just wasn't any spark. This team is just not that good, Chris America. You know, typically I'll go into the season with some unrealistic fan hopes that were higher than normal.
Yeah.
And
you always say top 5. And
yeah,
I noticed, yeah.
This year, you didn't feel it, did you?
No.
I just didn't have very high aspirations for this team this season, and I was just being a realist. And the realist in me was saying that there's just not that much talent on this team. They're just not as good as I would hope they would be. And when you start out 0-4, you're proving Loudbeard right, Washington Redskins. You're going out there and proving me right that you're not that good. And, yeah, I mean, I like Case Keenum, but he's really more of a backup quarterback in the NFL. Having him as a starter is tough. You bring in the rookie, you hope for a little dazzle, a little spark, a little something, and the rookie doesn't give you a whole lot. Yeah, and the coach, he's a dead man walking. Yeah, there's no way he survives this season at this point.
He's overstayed his welcome for sure.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to give the owner, who doesn't deserve a whole lot of credit, but I'm going to give him a little bit of credit. He let this ride out. He gave Jay Gruden every opportunity to make this team work. And at this point, with the amount of chances that he's given Jay Gruden, it is time to move on and let's find another coach. And I think there'll be another coach that'll be interested in this job because if you give Jay Gruden this much time to be this mediocre, you are now saying, okay, whoever else comes in, I'm giving you a shot. It's not like 1 or 2 years and done. Like, I am going to give you an opportunity to turn this program around. Basically giving them 5 years at this point is the minimum you would give the next coach. So hopefully there will be a good coaching hire in the future for the Washington Redskins.
Now, I have a statement and a question. Which do you want first?
Let's do statement first, and then we can go question.
Whoever comes in next has quite the mess on their hands. They have, I believe they're still going to have the $80 million contract of Alex Smith to deal with, correct?
Well, it was a 3-year deal, so yes, you'll have the 3rd year of that deal.
How does that work if you're injured, though? Do you still get to roll through your... I guess if you're getting paid, you get to roll through your deal, but if you're holding out, then the deal is on pause, right?
Yeah. There's different clauses in there for injuries and stuff. I don't know all the details, but yeah, something like that.
So at least you're already 2/3 of the way from that deal, and then maybe, hopefully, I'd have to look it up, but hopefully you're on like a cheap plan for year 3. You know how sometimes they front load a contract? Let's hope that your Redskins front loaded Alex Smith's contract. and you get him for the cheap next year.
Yeah, I see where you're going with that. And the good news is Dwayne Haskins is going to be on his rookie deal, so that's not going to be a terrible contract.
No, I mean you can Josh Rosen Dwayne Haskins if need be. If the new coach wants to Josh Rosen Dwayne Haskins, the Arizona Cardinals did that. And even though the Cardinals are still garbage, I think for the coach that they hired, it was the right move to do.
Yeah, there we go. They could do that. You're right. Like, there's no, if a new coaching staff comes in, they're not married to Dwayne Haskins. They don't have to use this guy as the guy of the future. Though
Right.
you spend a first round pick on him, but like you said, if you do the Arizona Cardinals way of life, I mean, they're pretty happy having Kyler Murray over there.
Because right now you guys are approaching Dolphins level bad. I mean, the Giants aren't that good of a team, and they steamrolled you guys.
Yeah, they looked really good, and that's without Saquon Barkley, and that's with a rookie quarterback in Daniel Jones, who looks like he's doing pretty good so far. He's stepped up as a pretty good quarterback. Now,
Yeah.
he did throw some key interceptions during this game, but luckily the Redskins couldn't do anything with him, so he got bailed out.
Yep. Now on to my question, Loudbeard. Your coach is Josh Heupel for UCF.
Yes.
Your NFL team is the Redskins. If the Redskins say we want that Lincoln Riley guy to come in and spark this offense, and he does, like I'm promising you, you hire Lincoln Riley, you automatically become a playoff contending, Super Bowl contending team. But you also know Josh Heupel leaves to go back to his alma mater of Oklahoma. Do you take that deal?
Yeah, I take that deal. There's no guarantee that Josh Heupel will go, but in your scenario, you're saying it's definitely going to happen. That would be tough for UCF, but I think UCF's gotten to the point where that has become a job that people want. It may not be stealing, UCF may not be able to steal coaches from some of these blue blood programs like your Florida Gators, like the Alabama Crimson Tide. We get that part. But as far as coaching jobs go, it's better than, I'd say, 2/3 of the top Power 5 programs, right? So coming in knowing that you're going to be the top team in the group of 5, that's a good place to be a coach. So I think the UCF program is going to be able to get a coach no matter what if Josh Heupel leaves, but you don't want to see your coach leave. And for the Redskins, yeah, it would feel good to get a coach in there that has a winning mentality. And what do you think? Lincoln Riley might bring Jalen Hurts over with them? Is that kind of what you're thinking here? I like your thought process.
He could bring over Jalen Hurts. He can bring over Tua. Like, we've seen, it doesn't really matter who this guy plugs in at quarterback on the college level. He just makes them better. 1,000,000% better.
Yeah, Lincoln
So
Riley
even
would
if
be
he-
a fantastic coach.
Even if he keeps Dwayne Haskins, you would trust his judgment on that. And I think that coaching style is the wave of the future in the NFL. It really is. Whether it's going to work or not, I don't know. But right now, the NFL is a copycat league, and I'm excited for it because I hated that the NFL kept going the Bill Belichick route, trying to copycat what he does. And I get why. I mean, he's won 6 Super Bowls, gone to 9 in the last 20 years. But you can't do it like he can do it. So why don't you go get some new innovative guys that have a new way of thinking, a new way of doing things, and make it more exciting?
Yeah, I'm 100% with you. Now, we're talking about how the Washington Redskins are having a tough go about it. There's another team in the state of Maryland that seems to run onto some hard times. We were so high on Lamar Jackson and those Baltimore Ravens, but they have fallen flat the last couple weeks. I don't know what's happened. Is this just lightning in the bottle?
We hadn't seen Jenny of Ohio all week last week. Maybe we should put out an APB.
Oh, so true. It's tough. I mean, you go up against the Cleveland Browns and you let them hang 40 on you, and you just you have trouble with that one. And that's a tough team to go against, right? Because you came in the middle of the night, you steal the team from Cleveland, you rename them the Baltimore Ravens, and you win Super Bowls with them. So that Cleveland Browns team, you don't want to lose to that team. But that Browns team, they did it. They put up a big number on you, and They're the ones that look like they're explosive. Baker Mayfield looks like he's the superstar quarterback. And the Ravens struggle as they fall to 2-2 after that 2-0 huge start where their offense looked like they couldn't be stopped.
But you know who's still having a slow start to their season?
Who's this?
OBJ. You know why I know that? Because he's on my fantasy team, and every week I'm like, I got to bench OBJ. No, don't bench OBJ, Chris. That's going to be the week he blows up and scores you a ton of points. Keep him in there. 4 points yesterday. I'm like, how do the Cleveland Browns score 40 points on the scoreboard, and OBJ was not a part of it?
Yeah, the reason why is because Nick Chubb has himself 3 touchdowns, has a huge game, and for some reason, out of nowhere, Jarvis Landry becomes the focal point of the passing offense, and Baker Mayfield gets the ball all over the field, hooking up with multiple receivers, not OBJ apparently, but he hits Jarvis Landry, and with that running back, Nick Chubb, this Cleveland Browns team was going in the right direction, but you're right. Why is OBJ not a bigger part of this offense? I mean, maybe he's out there collecting double coverage and helping free up other wide receivers, but you expect some electricity out of this guy. OBJ is just too good not to be lighting up the stat sheet week in and week out.
Well, our favorite co-host, the real man with the golden mic, he's tweeting in at us, Browns are not for real. Lamar will return. Sounds like a Star Wars movie.
I like where his heart is on this one. He's always been a big Lamar Jackson fan. He liked Lamar Jackson coming out of college. He was praising Lamar Jackson. So he's ride or die with Lamar Jackson. He's kind of like Kate Upton with Justin Verlander. He's ride or die. I see what he's saying, but the proof is on the field right now. The Cleveland Browns, after a slow start, they're starting to hit their stride. They look like the better team than the Baltimore Ravens, and they proved it on the field, and that's where it really matters. Lamar's going to have to sit back and hopefully pull it back together because 2 straight losses, that's a tough way to go now sitting at 500 to start the season after week 4.
Yeah, you got a lot of teams that bounced back this weekend. The Raiders, they're 2-2. They sit at second in their division. We talked about the Browns bouncing back. I believe they're 2-2 now, correct?
Yes,
yeah,
that is correct.
2-2. They now lead their division. Tonight, Monday night, we got to battle the worst of the AFC North. Steelers versus Bengals. Something's got to give. One of those teams are going to hopefully come out with a win, but you never know. They could come out 0-3-1 at the end of tonight.
Yeah, that's a terrible Monday night matchup, man. And Sunday Night Football was the big marquee matchup, and that ended up being kind of a dud with the Saints and Cowboys. But I see what you're saying. We're seeing some teams bounce back, but to me, the team that bounced back the best and the team that I'm getting excited about is this Gardner Minshew-led Jaguars with a comeback win over the Broncos. I get it. The Broncos are winless. It's not a big win, but it's in Denver with a last-minute rally to carry this Jaguars to a win. I believe in Gardner Minshew, Chris America.
You know, it's going to be funny when the AFC South ends the season with 4 8-8 teams. Because it seems like, for now, that's what we have. Our 4 500 teams you're never going to be able to figure out when they're going to win, when they're going to lose. The Texans opened up the season with a strong loss, a good moral victory loss to the Saints. And they've just been kind of back and forth then. The Colts, they look surprisingly good to open up the season. 2-1. Yesterday, they come up flat against the Raiders. The Raiders, Loudbeard. How do you lose to the Raiders at home? How does that happen? And
I have no idea.
The Titans, they bounce back. They're another one of those bounce back teams. They've won against the Falcons, who are just plummeting after they beat the Eagles. I'm glad we're not doing a survivor pool this year, Loudbeard, because I would not be able to figure these wins out. Most of these teams, it's too hard to try to pick.
This was a weird week, too. I felt like it was tough. I mean, you mentioned about the Texans. I'm thinking, oh, the Panthers with the rookie quarterback or young
Yep,
quarterback,
they
not
bounce
rookie.
back.
Yeah, they bounce back. I didn't expect that. And Kyle Allen has 3 fumbles, and the Texans still lose. So what are we getting out of these teams? Mitch Trubisky goes out with a shoulder injury, isn't playing, and the Bears still shellac the Vikings. I mean, I don't understand the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, I was going to say the what the hell is going on out here game of the week has to be the Buccaneers destroying the Rams in a shootout game in LA.
Well,
55-40. What the hell is going on out there?
Well, this leads me to my next question for you. And I need you to sit down because this one's going to be a real thinker.
Okay.
All right, so we've seen Jameis Winston. He's gone through the ups and downs, and it looks like he may have finally started figuring out, is this the beginning of the climb of Jameis Winston to being a legit starting quarterback who can carry his team to huge wins, especially on the road? And is Jameis Winston back, and is he for real? Is this the real man right here?
Well, who's his coach, Loudbeard? Bruce Arians, right?
That's right.
We've seen Bruce Arians. They call him the quarterback whisperer. I call him the quarterback resurrector. We saw this with Carson Palmer a few years back, how he resurrected that man's career from the dead and made him look like a really top-notch quarterback. And now he's doing it again with Jameis Winston, which I would have never predicted he could have done this. But I'm still going to hold off. I'm going to go not so fast. Somewhere deep down inside, the old Jameis Winston lives, and he will show himself again.
Yeah. I guess that could happen because I think for 3 or 4 years now we've been thinking, oh, this is the guy. He's going to break out. It's going to be time. And he does just enough to get us excited and then disappoints. So waiting for that opportunity for Jameis Winston to really bust out, but I don't know. It's hard to really get behind this guy because he's disappointed quite a few times in the past.
Okay, so we're just going line by line here with the real man with the golden mic tweeting in, Jaguars, get out of here. And no, Tampa Bay ain't got the juice. So those are his tweets? Those are his comments coming in?
He also tweeted at me, not to Scout Team Radio, but he said, Cousins not top 5. Well, yes, I agree with you, man with the golden mic. Kirk Cousins, talk about a disappointment. The Vikings give him that big guaranteed contract, and week in and week out, 1 week looks like he's electric and this offense is humming, and then the following week it's like they lay an egg. I don't know what to think of this Vikings offense, but I can tell that Vikings fans are frustrated, that the Vikings players are frustrated, and Kirk Cousins is doing what he did with the Washington Redskins, just enough to be mediocre.
Yeah, the Vikings. I guess that's the only move that the Redskins have done in the last few years that you're like, okay, I'm good with it. I'm glad we didn't secure up so many millions of dollars with Kirk Cousins. Even if we are secured with Alex Smith, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'd rather be secured with a guy that's injured than a guy that can't play well.
Yeah, and the Alex Smith situation, they put money into Alex Smith, and they said, all right, we think that Alex Smith, a little bit cheaper than Kirk Cousins, and is going to give us more. Well, when Alex Smith played, he actually had that team winning. Since he's been out on injury, this team has been a total dumpster fire. So if Alex Smith never would have got hurt, could be a different story. Still a good move, though, right? Kirk Cousins is showing that he's not an elite quarterback. He's a middle-of-the-road guy that's going to be good enough to get you a few wins here and there, but isn't going to carry you all the way. You need so many pieces around this guy, especially on the defensive side of the ball, to make up for the lack of explosiveness on this offense. So, yeah, Kirk Cousins, disappointing.
I've noticed we haven't seen anything about the Packers from the real man with the golden mic. I know that was a Thursday night game. I know we're a little bit distanced from that, but my guess is his tweet's going to be like, we're going to bounce back. We're good. Nothing to see here. Move it along.
Yeah. I mean, He could at
But
least talk about how great those cornerbacks are.
Yeah. But one 3-1 team that he'll jump all over and say, "See, I told you they weren't that good. They were just playing crappy teams." How about them Cowboys?
Yeah. I don't know what to think of the Cowboys. I mean, they go out against a team without Drew Brees in the New Orleans Saints, who have played pretty good without Drew Brees, regardless. But a team without their number one quarterback, and that team goes out and they still beat you. Those Cowboys, their offense sputtered last night, and are they for real? I don't think they are. I'm kind of like him. I'm like the man with the golden mic. Screw them Cowboys.
Yeah. They played this way last year with the Saints. The Saints and the Cowboys had like a 13-10 game last year. It's 12-10 game this year. It's kind of synonymous for what these two teams do. We're starting to build like a little rivalry between these two teams. They were getting a little chippy. Saw a little fighting, a lot of penalties between these two guys, and I don't know. It was a boring game, but it was a fun game all at the same time. I don't know how you felt about it.
Yeah. I like high-scoring games. You know me.
Yeah.
When it becomes a defensive battle, I lose a little bit of interest. But we have a tweet here, and this is an interesting take. Cowboys ain't back. Will never be back with Dak. That's from the real man with the golden mic. Now, let me get your thoughts on that. You think Dak is the problem there in Dallas?
No, because I don't think there's a problem with Dallas. Dallas is a winning team. They just lost a game. It happens. Everybody has off nights, and I don't even know that Dak per se had an off night. It just looks like two really good teams that hate playing each other. We're battling it out. Defenses are very respectable on either team, and it was really just the Cowboys come and go with Ezekiel Elliott, and it always felt like he just wasn't getting enough yards. He would get short. There was a 4th and 1 where they converted, but then he fumbled, even though it looked like his elbow was down, but they gave him the fumble anyways. And that was the other key thing is turnovers from those two guys between Dak and Jason Witten in the first half killed him. And yes, Cowboy fans, just like the real man with the golden mic, the coaching. A lot of people think Garrett is the problem.
Yeah, is Jason Garrett the guy that can get him over the top? I mean, he has been that 8-8 guy for a lot of years. They've had some success, some big years, but is Jason Garrett a guy that can take you to the championship? And I think a lot of people, including myself, don't believe he's the guy. He's going to take them. They'll make the playoffs here and there, but they're never going to be a championship caliber team with Garrett.
No, they might not. And then they might be the team that goes out and gets Lincoln Riley. And then if you lose your coach and then the Cowboys get the winning guy, the guy that lights up the scoreboard and gets them back to a Super Bowl, that's got to be worst case scenario for you, right?
Yes. That would not be good.
Well, Labby, we got about 7 minutes. We've covered just about all the NFL, didn't we? All the scores I wanted to do. We mentioned a little bit about the Panthers. My Panthers didn't light up the scoreboard, but still Kyle Allen looked pretty good. Managed himself a win, got him enough yards. Christian McCaffrey. I mean, it's Christian McCaffrey. What else? What else do we need to say?
You mean he carried the ball a bunch of times, he caught the ball a bunch of times. He's basically the offense. Okay, yep, that's it.
Yeah, 1 touchdown, 37 touches. He's basically the new Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah, I agree with that. Since we have a few minutes here before the break, and we've kind of gone through our NFL lineup here, I think I'm going to talk just a couple minutes about baseball. A couple interesting facts happened over the weekend. This happened when we were off the air Friday. The Tampa Bay Rays clinched a playoff berth, Chris America. They are in the wild card game.
Yes.
So, yes, we get to see kind of our local team. We'll call it that. They get to go up against the Oakland Athletics in this one-game wild card playoff. So I'm wishing the Rays the best. I mean, the Major League Baseball season is over. I'd have to look. I
Okay.
believe it is in Oakland because they had the better record in the wild card.
So another thing that happened, it probably happened Thursday night because I heard it on sports radio Friday morning. We're sitting here talking about the balls are juiced and pitchers are complaining that they're hitting too many home runs on them and blah, 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 blah. But for the 12th season in a row, Loudbeard, Major League Baseball broke the strikeout record as well, which leads me to believe one thing, that yes, maybe the balls are juiced, but also when you have a lot of home runs and a lot of strikeouts, that just means guys are swinging for the fences more than they usually are.
Yeah, this is an interesting dynamic. It's no longer a hitter's league as far as let's get a bunch of singles and doubles and we're gonna possess it. No, this is a
Small ball,
hey,
as they call it.
yeah, it's not a small ball league anymore. This is a big ball league. This is a long ball league. This is the league where you go for the fence or you're not valuable. So we're seeing people going for the fences, and the home run leader this season, Pete Alonso, ends up with 53 home runs, leads the major leagues as a rookie, breaks Aaron Judge's major league rookie record for home runs, and holds the home run crown this season. So, yeah, we're seeing lots of long balls, and that's a good way to play for baseball. I think that makes it exciting.
And then the pitcher should stop complaining because now they're seeing a lot more strikeouts. So you got to take the good with the bad.
Yeah, you do have to take the good with the bad. Here's another little side story for Major League Baseball that I think is kind of big. A guy that I like a lot, he's got this Tampa Bay Rays roots, but Joe Madden, he is now officially out as the manager of the Cubs, a guy that wins a World Series for this club that had not won a World Series in a very, 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 very long time, has mutually decided to part ways. He said it's just time for him to move on. Do you think this is a bad move for the Cubs?
Yeah, because he's the guy that brought him there. And I kind of felt it was a bad move. Okay, it wasn't a bad move because he finally got himself a World Series that he probably wasn't going to get with the Rays. But as far as longevity career, we would have never got rid of Joe Madden. That guy could have lived to 100, been the worst manager in the world, and we still would have kept him around.
It's true. It's true. But I know he's going to land on his feet somewhere. This guy,
Oh, yeah.
he's just like a fun manager. You know,
But
he's
how
one of
old
the
is he,
guys
though?
that, I don't know, 1,000 years old?
He
Does
does
that
look
sound
about
right?
1,000 years old, right?
I mean, I've seen some
Oh,
old.
wow, he's only
major-
65.
Yes, look at that.
Doesn't
He's
he
not
look
even
like he's pushing
getting
80
Social
sometimes?
Security yet.
Yeah. Wow, I thought he was much older than what he is. Okay, so he's got some fuel left in the tank.
Yeah, he's much younger than Nick Saban.
Yeah, he is.
Just saying. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Joe Madden, a big one. Yeah, so that's some of our Major League Baseball stuff. And with the season being over, not only do we get the A's and the Rays in this wild card, the Nationals and the Brewers will be battling it out on the NL side. So we've got that one game wild card play in. We'll get that, and then we'll dive right into these series. And I think we've discussed it quite a bit, but man, I hate these one game play-ins. I hate them.
Yeah, we'll love him if Tampa Bay wins, though, because then we just
Yep.
move on and get to the regular playoffs. And I think that's more or less what baseball wants. They wanted to answer the cry for more wild card teams, but they also wanted to get this season moved along. They already know that their season's long enough as it is. They didn't want the playoffs to be longer than they had to be. Their playoffs is the second shortest next to the NFL. It's a 1 month long deal, and they get it in and out. Whereas, hockey and NBA, they take forever. It almost feels like 4 or 5 months for those playoffs. And I know that's being over exaggerated, but I hate it.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe there's some good merit in this one game play in, and especially if the Rays win, they're going to be put out their ace Charlie Morton to pitch in this game, and hopefully we see a win out of him. And maybe Joe Madden will be there on the sidelines cheering him on as a spectator. That could be a good mojo for this Tampa Bay Rays team.
Yes, sir, Loudbeard. On the other side of the break, is college football getting boring? I'll let you know, Loudbeard.
Hey, Kawhi, what are you laughing at, man? This isn't funny. Fantasy sports reimagined. FanDuel, that's what I'm talking about. It is more than just fantasy sports. It's the best way to watch the games, win real cash, and bring the action right to your living room. Just choose a contest, make your picks, watch, and win. And if you go to FanDuel.com/STR today, you can get a $5 deposit bonus. Once again, that's FanDuel.com/STR. Come on, man. This is not a laughing matter. If you've been listening to Scout Team Radio for a long time, you know that myself, Loudbeard, has placed a bet or two in his day. That's right, I've lost the beard bet, I lost the romper bet, but one place I don't like losing is when I bet money, and I can easily do that at MyBookie. That's right, you can go to mybookie.ag, use promo code 12OZSports, and get a 100% deposit bonus up to $1,000. Hey, guess what? That is a lot of money. Do it.
When I'm working hard, I build up a thirst for sports. That's when I grab a cold 12-ounce sports radio. "12-ounce sports radio. Quench your sports thirst." Hey everybody, it's your favorite Patriot, Chris America, and I want you to listen every single weekday, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., and on replays from 11 a.m. to noon of Scout Team Sports. Listen, George Washington did not cross over the ocean blue in 1492 to defeat the Nazis, so you can listen to the same tired national clickbait sports stories. So once again, tune in to us every single morning, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., and then we replay from 11 to noon. I will see you there, and God bless America.
Welcome back. Thank you all for listening in. We absolutely appreciate it. Once again, we are Scout Team Radio. He's Chris America. I'm Loudbeard. We bring it to you hot and live each and every morning, Monday through Friday, right here on 12-ounce Sports Radio. We are also a part of the Full Press Radio Network and the Barn Burner Radio Network. We're all over the place. Kind of a big deal. You know what I'm saying. If you cannot catch that live show, this live show every morning at 6 a.m., that's okay. Download the podcast. The podcast is available anywhere you find your podcast. Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, Google Play, wherever. You can find us anywhere. Just download us, rate us, review us, do all that fun stuff. We don't mind. We actually enjoy it. We do. Lastly, hit us up on Twitter. Each show, we do some live tweeting. This morning, the real man with the golden mic, not to be confused with the fake man with the golden mic, is tweeting at us. He's hitting in some hot takes this morning. He's a big Jameis Winston fan. He loves those Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and Jameis Winston, they're his favorite, so he's defending them till the death. So, yeah, if you want to tweet in, we'll read your tweets live on the air like we did with this guy. We would do that, right, Chris America? We would read people's tweets on the air.
Yeah, we would. We always do. Or at least we try to.
Yeah,
Sometimes we get distracted. Sometimes we get too involved, but I'd say 99.9% of the time we get them in.
Maybe 99.85, but you're close. You're close. I mean, you're within the same vicinity of the figure. Yeah, I agree with that. That sounds good.
Well, Loudbeard, we like to do this every time this team wins. We have to play their fight song. I first teased that college football is getting boring, but first I want to tease this fight song because we do it for the Orlando Magic. We got to do it for this team. Here we go.
Backpack, 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 backpack. On the backpack loaded up with things and knickknacks too. Anything that you might need, I got inside for you. Backpack.
Yeah, Loudbeard. The Florida State Seminoles, they're on what we call a win streak.
Say what?
Yeah, you get one win, then you go out and you get another win, and that there, fellas, is what we call a win streak. The Florida State Seminoles won, and I made a vow to play their fight song every time they win a game. So there you have it. Go Florida State. Is Florida State back, Loudbeard?
Yeah, I think Florida State's back. You know what? They figured out the problem. The problem is that they needed to hydrate. It wasn't anything to do with their play on the field. It wasn't anything to do with how well they're doing, but yeah, they needed to hydrate. Now that they've hydrated, yeah, they needed that. There we go. Winning culture.
They got the winning culture, the drinking culture down. They are back, man. And I'm going to look up their schedule now to see if we can keep this juice rolling. To see if this FSU freight train can be a runaway freight train, because that's what our boy Anthony Mack. Nope. Their next game is against Clemson. But good news for Florida State. UNC, who lost to App State last week, took Clemson to task and damn near beat them.
So you're saying there's a chance?
I'm saying there's a chance. And yes, Mike Berlon is freaking dead right now with he said backpack song. I don't know what he's talking about. That's the Florida State fight song. And then the real man with the golden mic, he called us mother effers. Yeah, we are, Loudbeard. We both have had relations with women who have had children and are mothers. Because girls become lovers and turn into mothers, so mothers, be good to your daughters too.
I thought this was a family show. What is up with our listeners? We're gonna have a talk with this specific listener. He's put the GIF out here saying "mother effers." I don't know that that's an appropriate response to be putting out on Twitter and tagging us.
Maybe he's calling us
personally.
Fockers. He's saying that
Like-
we're part
like
of the
the movie?
Fokker family. Yeah,
Is that
that's a good movie. So I
Is
think
that
it's a
a
compliment.
friendly gesture?
Mhm.
That's a friendly gesture. Okay. That's very friendly. Well, that was nice of him. That backpack.
so-
I missed that thing.
Yeah, I will say this. I said the weekend was boring. That UNC Clemson game, that was one of those sneaky, didn't see it coming good games. Do you like the call to go for two in the situation that UNC did?
Yeah, I mean, looking back on it, I'm thinking, oh, this is terrible. You lose the game because of that. But in the heat of the moment, I feel it. I feel that is the right move. You know why? Because if you upset Clemson, that is huge. If you tie and then go into overtime, you're just it's not really doing anything special. So Mac Brown, he puts on his big pair of brass balls and he says, you know what? We're going for it. And I don't mind the call. I really don't mind the call. It's not like UNC's going for a perfect record this season or it's anything that this season like he ruined. He was going for the win. And that's to me the right call. I'm going with it.
Yeah, I think it was a win-win situation. He goes for two. The players know that he believes in them, and they're willing to go run through a brick wall for him through the rest of the season. They make it. They're good. They win. They don't make it. He still has them and their trust the rest of the way. Now, this game is 2 weeks out, Loudbeard. Both teams have a bye week, and I think that spells disaster for Florida State.
I don't know. The tweet that we have coming in from the real man with the golden mic, he's saying that Florida State's not going to beat Clemson, but they will take them to the wire.
Yeah, he says they have kinks in the armor. See, he's still trying to be dirty on our family show. He's talking about them being kinky for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't get that. Where is he coming up with this stuff? Kinky?
Dude's got a
No,
dungeon room
inappropriate.
where he's kinky with armor. I don't know. He says I'm going to beat them.
Ugh.
In his dungeon with the kinky armor. I don't know, man. It's
Man,
getting
this guy,
weird.
I think he read 50 Shades of Grey last night.
He did. For the 50th time.
He's like, it says 50 Shades of Grey. That means you read it.
You
50
read it 50
times.
times.
There you go.
Mike Berlon says he loves the call for two. Man with the golden mic loves the call. You love the call. I do love the call, Loudbeard. I do.
Yeah.
Now, the rest of the weekend, I'm sitting here, and I'm like, okay, I'm getting ready. We're jumping in to conference games, right, Loudbeard? No more cupcakes. We got Power 5 versus Power 5, and I've been told for the last 5 years, that Power 5 means that we are equal, that we are good teams, and we are a force to be reckoned with. And I'm going through, and I'm like, okay, Penn State, Maryland. Everybody's telling me Maryland's back. Memphis Spence tells me Maryland's back. A whole bunch of people tell me Maryland's back. All right, Friday night's going to be lit. I'm going to open it up with some Penn State, Maryland, 59-0. The game was out of hand before I can even turn the TV on, Loudbeard.
Oh, Maryland started out the season like so good, so dynamic, and then all of a sudden they lose to Temple, and then they lose this game. They get shellacked. Maryland is not back. It was fool's gold, Chris America, fool's gold.
But that's okay, Loudbeard, because Duke, Virginia Tech play each other, and these are two powerhouse teams. It's going to be a close game. They're going to fight it out, and then by the time I get the TV on, it's 45-10. Duke, actually, which was weird. Not to worry, Loudbeard. I'm going to turn over to Oklahoma, Texas Tech. We're going to get it 55-16. All right, cool. Michigan, Rutgers. We got this. We're going to do it. Two Big Ten powerhouses going at it 52-0. Alabama, Ole Miss. Ole Miss has beaten them twice within the last decade, so they got to win today, right? They got Rich Rodriguez, Loudbeard. Yes, the old West Virginia head coach has fallen on hard times. He is the offensive coordinator over there in Ole Miss, 59-31. Well, that game was boring. All right, what about Notre Dame, Virginia, 35-20? Loudbeard, what am I doing? Why can't I find a good football game this weekend? Even Washington versus USC never was close. Auburn destroys Mississippi State. Nebraska doesn't even show up. Barely scores a touchdown, 48-7. 38-13, Utah, Washington State. I thought that was going to be a good game. And then even, lo and behold, my last effort, Loudbeard, I thought Hawaii and Nevada. That's got to be it. That's got to be it, right? Nope, 54-3.
Yeah, you're right. And I'm thinking of these college game day guys. They're like, oh, let's go out to Nebraska. Nebraska's back. They're back. They were preseason top 25. This is such a good team. They've got that dynamic quarterback, Martinez. They've got Scott Frost, this great coach. No. That's whoever thought Nebraska was back. Those people all should be fired.
Yeah. They need to be fired, lose their voting privileges in the top 25, be sent home. The whole system's broken, Loudbeard. And this college football, I feel like this is every weekend what we look at in college football is just this stark comparison and contrast between teams within these conferences.
Yeah, it's crazy. Now, a game that I was looking forward to that ended up being disappointing was Washington State versus Utah. I thought Washington State was going to hang, and Utah just runs over them. Washington State didn't have a chance. Yeah, and the best part about that, and this is what makes college football entertaining, is a guy like Mike Leach with some of his football talk after the game, and he calls his players fat, dumb, and entitled. Now, that is a motivational speech by a coach. I loved it.
Yeah, that was the only entertaining part of the weekend, really. That and the UNC Clemson game. But I mean, your UCF, they're blowing out teams. That was boring. Florida's playing Towson for some reason before they play Auburn. I mean, I hope the season turns around. But this has just been a very lackluster season. You mentioned College Game Day crew going out to Nebraska. They did the same for Syracuse Clemson. That game was boring. Like when the primetime games at 8 o'clock are just blowouts every single Saturday, that's where I really just lose interest in college football. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to go out to the bar and have a few drinks. If the games are on, they're on. But, I don't need to pay attention to them.
All right. Well, you bring up a good point. I'm going to ask you, we've got one good topic here on the Twitter line I'll bring up here in just a second. But you brought up Auburn with Florida next week. Is Auburn for real, man? This team has been sneaky good all season long, and they will get their first real test. I mean, they played Oregon in the beginning of the year, so that was a test. But now they're going to get this test up against Florida, and the Gators versus Auburn next week. As a Gators fan, I think you should be a little nervous about this one.
No, we'll see. Auburn's only been tested by Oregon. And after that, I don't really know that Auburn's really played anybody. I'm going to check their schedule really quick. They played Oregon, then they followed up with Tulane, Kent State, Texas A&M, and Mississippi State. And I think Texas A&M is one of the most overrated football teams in college football. I'm just going to say that right now. I hated everybody giving them love. I knew who their coach was. It was Jimbo. I never won without Jameis Winston Fisher. And I didn't understand why everybody was high on them, that they had them as their sneaking away with a playoff appearance in a SEC championship. And yeah, they were what? They're 2-2 or 3-2, but it's because they've played Texas State, Lamar, and Arkansas outside of their Auburn and Clemson games. So now they're going to play Alabama next week, or apparently everybody's on a bye week next week because Alabama's on a bye, and so is Texas A&M. I don't know if Alabama's on a bye. I know Texas A&M's on a bye. Next weekend's going to be trash if Alabama's on a bye. Yep, everybody's on a bye next week, Loudbeard. So you got Florida and Auburn, and then everybody else is just taking the week off, apparently.
Wow. Okay, so we don't have a whole lot to look forward to next week. Now, this was brought up on the Twitter line, Chris America, and not to go backwards here, but Nebraska we talked about being trash. Scott Frost should have never left UCF. This is a statement by one of our listeners, the real man with the golden mic. What are your thoughts on this statement?
Oh, I said that from the beginning, at least not for the Nebraska job. I thought the Nebraska job was a bad move for him and the style of football he likes to play. And people think I'm just making this up. But even against Pitt didn't beat them because, they kept up with UCF. They just found angles and ways to take away their speed in the first half, or the first quarter, really. And then once your quarterback got comfortable, UCF just displayed their speed, and they took off like a bolt of lightning, and Pitt was just able to have a big enough lead in the first half and get a final few scores to win the game in the second half. But they didn't slow down UCF once UCF got going. And you saw with Stanford, they're just a faster team because there's just so much more speed readily available for you, so many more athletes with speed readily available in the state of Florida than any other state in the country. And I knew going to Nebraska in the middle of that cornfields, he wasn't going to find, I'm not saying Nebraska doesn't have any speed. It's just from top to bottom, Florida teams just have way more speed. And then when you can coach that speed and teach those players how to execute football plays with that speed, it's a thing of beauty to watch. And that's what his system predicates on. And unless he changes the system, he's never going to win at Nebraska.
Oh, that's a bold statement right there, Cotton.
I would. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I'm going to have to agree with you. I hated this move from the beginning. And Nebraska's a program where it's got the name, but it's a name from the 80s and 90s. It's not a name from today. Nebraska has been a down program for quite a while now. And, yeah, Scott Frost wanted to go in and be the golden child. He played there. That's his home. And bring this program back. And all the pundits, they want that to happen so bad. All the analysts want it to happen so bad. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, they want that Big Ten West to be as good as the Big Ten East, to make the Big Ten look even better than it is now. The real man with the golden mic, by the way, talking about 50 Shades of Grey. I want to point something out to you, Loudbeard. I like to do this thing where sometimes it's not what people say, it's what they don't say that you have to pay attention to. That's one of the skills I have when reading people. And so from this tweet, Man with the Golden Mic says, I've never read that book and I've never seen that movie. So we have one sense of eyes. He's never read it, or he's never, brailled it for that matter, and he's never seen that movie. But that doesn't mean that he doesn't listen to it on his Audible app.
Oh, yeah, the audiobook version of it. Yes, that's a very nice way to pick that up. So he's openly admitting to it.
Yeah, he's never read it. He's never seen that movie, but he never said that he never listens to it 50 times on the audio. I bet you he loves listening to it. I bet you it's better that way for him.
It sounds about right. Now he has another tweet that comes in here. He says a big hole between the top 5 and the rest of the NCAA. I don't know. Is that true?
I think so, man. I think the way that recruiting is going, you got teams like Alabama they're just a vortex in the Southeast, just sucking away all of the talent, all of the top talent away from all the teams. And then Georgia gets in there and they do the same. So you have two teams just taking all that top talent and sucking it away from all the teams in the Southeast. You got Ohio doing the same thing, Ohio State, just sucking away whatever talent is in that Midwest region, and they're all just going there. Oklahoma doing the exact same thing. And then when you're looking at all of the top athletes that are left after those 5 schools are done, you're left with a bunch of 3 stars and 2 stars. And unless you're a really, really good coach, you're not going to win many games with those guys.
Okay. Definitely a good point there. And I would say that the talent and the ability of these top 5, top 8 programs probably head and shoulders above everybody else. But I don't know that these top teams are as invincible as we've seen in the past. We've seen Clemson. They're right now looking a little shaky, right? They
got kinky
struggle
armor.
against you. Yep, they got kinky armor, as one of our listeners once said. And they look a little shaky. Alabama, to me, doesn't look as dominating as they were a year ago. And that's just the eye test. They're going to have some challenges coming up here moving forward, but they really haven't played too tough of a schedule as of yet. And yet last season, so much more dominant than this season. It just doesn't seem like the same Alabama team. So I don't know if it's as top heavy as maybe we're thinking it is.
I don't know. Part of that I think is just wishful thinking on your part, because I mean they're blowing their weak ass schedule out like they do year in and year out. But I do agree with you the fact that maybe it's because we saw them get blown out last year by Clemson that we know that Alabama is a beatable team when they actually face some competition. When they're going to do that, probably not till LSU on November 9th. That's when they're going to see a real football team. In between then, they have A&M, Tennessee, and Arkansas.
Yeah.
Two out of those 3 games are at home.
Yeah, that's a pretty winnable schedule up until that point. Now, LSU, that's a team that I'm excited about. That team looks like they could be the mystery contender in this top 4 at the end of the season. LSU, and then, of course, Ohio State's going out there doing their business. I mean, there's some good teams towards the top. So, yeah, it is top-heavy. Yeah, I don't know.
I still don't even know with LSU, man. They beat Texas. And then the rest of their schedule is filled with Georgia Southern, Northwest State, and Vanderbilt. Then they got Utah State coming in next week. We won't find out about them until they play Florida, but then maybe Florida's a fraud. And we won't find out about them until they play Auburn. But maybe Auburn's a fraud. So really, we won't find out about LSU until they play Alabama on November 9th.
Wow. That's an interesting scenario. Mike Berlin says, I feel like we've been saying Alabama doesn't look as dominant as last year for the last several years. They just still keep rolling. He's right, man. They do. That team always rolls. No pun intended.
Yeah. And then he also says, like, don't be so hard on Bo Pelini's Nebraska teams. They won 9, 10, or 11 games a season, and they were just always a dumb loss away from doing something.
It's
then
true.
no surprise from the real man with the golden mic. I don't know why the real man with the golden mic isn't on a microphone right now. He says LSU is a contender and UF is a fraud. No surprise there from him.
Yeah, he's a UF hater, so it doesn't really come as a surprise that he's going to throw that out there. But, yeah, Florida needs to get a real test. I mean, they struggled against Miami early. Now, what the difference is the injury to Felipe Franks has actually made this team a little bit more solid on offense. This guy that's come in, Kyle Trask, he's looked good. That, to me, could be the difference from Florida's season. He could come in and help actually make this a legit team and not a fraud.
Yeah. Well, Loudbeard, somebody who you think is a fraud is Justin Bieber. Did you watch his wedding? I guess there was a wedding stream. But I'm not seeing anything about the wedding. I'm seeing Bieber's wedding, and everybody talking about how they're going to watch it. But I don't see any pictures or anybody saying like what happened at this wedding.
Yeah, no, I'm not interested in that. You know, me and Justin Bieber have a history. I'd prefer not to watch his wedding.
Uh-oh, I definitely want to be married by 25, and guess what? He's 25. Hashtag Bieber's wedding. Did Bieber get married yesterday? I think he had like a little shotgun wedding yesterday, Loudbeard. Now I'm seeing pictures of him in like a polo and some black pants, and then his girl is wearing a white dress that she looked like she got out of Goodwill. This is not the celebrity wedding that you're used to seeing, Loudbeard. You got to take a look at these pictures, and until then, go ahead and punch some drywall and shoot some monster while you hate on Justin Bieber, because we're all out of time.
That Justin Bieber, screw him.
Looks like they were in a fight too.
I think it was his second wedding.
Somebody tweeted, Mr. and Mrs. Bieber look so effing good, and they posted pictures where they look like they're in a fight with each other. That's funny.